President, I ask unanimous consent the Senate proceed to the consideration calendar number 162 S933, the Bulletproof Vest Partnership Grant Program Reauthorization Act. The bill be read a third time and passed, and the motion to reconsider be laid upon the table with no intervening action or debate.
Is there objection?
Reserving the right to object.
Senator from Oklahoma.
Thank you. The most senior member of our body understands the differences he and I have on a lot of issues. Most of what he said is true in his statement about the sacrifices and the effectiveness. Where we have a difference of agreement and a difference of understanding is in the enumerated powers of the Constitution of the United States. And the fact is that every individual in this country today owes $50,000 just on the debt, and every family is responsible for $1,100,000 in unfunded liabilities that your children and you will ultimately pay for. This isn't about vests. This is about continuing to do the same thing that got our country in trouble. This is a $120 million authorization with no offset, no cutting of spending anywhere else. If it's a priority, we ought to cut spending somewhere else. But more importantly, the Constitution lists out the enumerated powers. And there's no role for the federal government in terms of funding local police departments. It's a nice thing to do if we were in surplus. We could ignore the enumerated powers. We're not in surplus. We're borrowing tons of money every year. We're going to borrow $580 billion this year. $580 billion against the future. And the small thing, this is small. It's only $120 million. I don't object to our police officers having vests. I want them all to have vests. I want all the women to have vests. But it's not a role for the federal government. It's a role for my home police department, Muskogee, Oklahoma. The taxpayers there should protect their police officers. And our founders were very clear. And the reason this country is in trouble is we continue to practice outside the parameters of a limited government and take away the responsibility and obligations of state and local communities. On that basis, I raise an objection and do not agree.
The objection is heard.
Well, Mr. President, I'm sorry to hear this. You know, I hear people who supported a useless war in Iraq, and they'll talk about how much money we spend. The first time in America...
Will the senator yield for a moment? Just for a question. Are you aware that I never voted for any of the money for that spending?
Madam President, the senator will go back, and what I said, it did not refer to him.